しなくていいから抱きしめて愛を一つまたねまたね
Don't need no friends to go put you some alarm. We'll run you on my death, though. Don't waste my time. If you wanna fuck with me, I'll fucking let you up inside. If you try to have some fun, fucking put you in a tie like bitch, I'm on go, like bitch, I'm on a roll. Why you pull but it's still trying to pull it, but it didn't see me fight like 1, 2, complete fantasy. I slide, see the red, blue, inside, dripping, bubble like when I pull it to the scene, I wipe you out, let me secure. What the fuck you want from me, boy? It's in a pack of chill like, how you try to fuck, I don't want nothing in between.
Hey, pull it with my short gun, and you know I don't play. I take down 5, got these baddies on me, and you know I don't lie. Put a plane through my chest, and I'm going bunkai. Putting on my mask, and I finna turn hollow. Straw hat burns, and you know my crew follows. Stacking these racks, I don't need no lotto. Living large like a titan, I ain't talking colossal. Tanjiro, I'm slaying demons, slicing through him, he ain't breathing. He want my blood, but I ain't bleeding. I'm green and booming, yeah, I'm green in these lanes, and I finna drift through. Got no hands on the wheel, and my whip is brand new. And you know we making waves, and you know we making moves. Filling with the smoke, shadow clone jutsu.
There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves and who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children. Monsters who devour dreams. Monsters who suck blood. And monsters who always tell lies.
But your bullets in my tap, blah, blah. But your fast can't see where I'm at. Drifting through the red dark team, blah, blah. What the fuck do you want, bitch? Shut the fuck up. I'm relaxed, I ain't tryna fuck with you. Are you broke, bitch? You are a broke bitch. Put it in the work, bitch. You gon' stay homeless. I'll paint your balls red like I'm Genovig. Middle fingers to the haters that are all alone.
Everything that was in my way is gone. It's only a matter of time before I get rid of the police. What do you think of that, El? This is my perfect victory! That's right! I win!
Go, like bitch, I'm on a roll. Why you pull it, but it's still trying to pull it, but it didn't see me fight like 1, 2, complete fantasy. I slide, see the red, blue, inside, dripping, bubble like when I pull it to the scene, I wipe you out, let me secure. What the fuck you want from me, boy? It's in a pack of chill like, how you try to fuck, I don't want nothing in between.
No, it must have been my imagination.
I think I James Brown, cause when the bitches hear this, they're gonna be like, wow. Smoking gas, living fast, wearing velvet. Can you take a 4 or 5 to the pelvis? Plenty money going around, I'm not selfish. And the ladies love me, Elvis. Smoking gas, living fast, wearing velvet. Can you take a 4 or 5 to the pelvis? Plenty money going around, I'm not selfish. And the ladies love me, Elvis. Nasty, very, very, very fucking nasty. Come on my body, everything about me classy. Zannies is a problem, got me sweating like a track meet. Pop a Viking dinner, then I put one in the ass. You a bad bitch, how you do your dance? Manage our lips, made me several bands. You a catfish, not like Instagram. When I hit stage, she was in a trance. I was in a rush, that for no time to conversate. I'm hustling off an natty pill that I just busted quietly. And I would cut a bitch on if she ever try to find me. And I would bet you $1 you ain't getting this high as me. Apply me. 3 grands or 4 grands or 5 grands, I both blunt. Tap in or tap out, my nigga, let's do some. Mac 10 that make your body call a fruit punch. Everybody is mad at me like so what? So white, little nigga, let's go. Let's pull up what you got in the soul stuff. 6 deep, but I came so low. Lightsabers hit you, hot so low. Smoking gas, living fast, wearing velvet. Can you take a 4 or 5 to the pelvis? Plenty money going around, I'm not selfish. And the ladies love me, Elvis. Smoking gas, living fast, wearing velvet. Can you take a 4 or 5 to the pelvis? Plenty money going around, I'm not selfish. And the ladies love me, Elvis.
Yo, 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 what it do, baby boys? One and only Capitan Weeps back with another Happy Man Snack review. What's pop? How you doing? What it do? What's good? Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Just... I don't know what I'm saying. But welcome, welcome. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It's your boy, Weedy. Happy doing. This music's too loud to talk to. Let me lower it down so I can talk to it. And, yeah, I need to talk. Yeah.
I've been an iPhone user for as long as they've sold iPhones, and for all intents and purposes, I am an Apple fanboy. But this isn't my first rodeo, and like many, I've been getting pretty bored of the iPhone, and particularly this year, we've got the same design, the same features, they're slow to adopt new technology, and of course, that word, the ecosystem. The S23 Ultra has been a bit of a love-hate relationship with me for the last couple of weeks or so, so if you are considering a switch from iPhone to Android, this video should cover off everything you need to be aware of when switching. And for those of you
we're ready now.
That says, oh, he's another Apple sheep, he's never gonna switch. Well, actually, I have switched. So let me just explain what's going on here. For me, we've got three main things that made me snap up one of these as soon as it was announced. Android, Snapdragon, and the cameras. This phone is running Samsung's flavour of Android, which will of course be the biggest change to those of you who are abandoning the iPhone and picking this phone up. Now, I will honestly say it has taken me a very long time to really get my head around Android, but recently I feel like it's just...
So we're going to be grinding Stars End tonight.
The Pixel 7 Pro and the Samsung Fold 4, those phones have absolutely
blown
Shag
Nasty.
Firstly,
this is
there is a
grinding
bit
here.
of work involved in making the switch. You can transfer
He's here.
over a lot of your data, but there are a couple of caveats. Now, iMessage, of course, because that obviously just doesn't work on Android, but if you do want to continue using iMessage, then there are actually services out there that do bring iMessage over to Android. Now, I've been using
iMessage on Android
probably over a year now, I think, called Beeper, and that's a way for me to centralize all of the messages from various social media platforms in one place. And for the rare few people who do still send iMessages to me, I can send iMessages on that as well. But that aside, if you have a partner who still uses an iPhone, then I haven't yet found a good calendar app that lets me see Apple calendars. Like, perhaps if you do know of any, then let me know down in the comments so I can go and check those out as well. And whilst you are there, these videos do take a ton of time to plan and make, and I buy these phones with my own money as well. So if you are enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel will make a huge difference to me, and it's totally free for you to do as well. We do use our Apple Family Calendar a lot, but instead you can just set up your partner with their free Gmail accounts, add that to their phone, and then just get them to use that calendar instead. Another caveat is if you do tend to store your photos in iCloud rather than on your device, then you'll also have to go through privacy.apple.com to request your data, which you can then transfer over. So just be aware there's some extra work to do there if you store them in iCloud. So with all of the flagship features we have on the S23 Ultra over on the iPhone, the only real new stuff we've had has been Dynamic Island, which does have its use cases, but that's kind of been it for me this year. It's another reason why I'm seeing a lot of iPhone...
I don't know, I've been thinking about like switching back to Samsung.
And since we're here, ecosystem. Now, since I choose to use a Mac over Windows, of course the ecosystem from an iPhone is going to be better. Like seamless copy and paste, unlock my Mac with my watch, it is all great stuff. But if you are a Windows user, then the S23 Ultra does have some similar tricks up its sleeve. You can connect your S23 Ultra to your Windows machine and you'll be able to send messages, view photos, make and receive phone calls, and see notifications from your PC. Like, all great features if you're on a Windows machine, but as a Mac user, the best you can get is to either use some third-party apps that mimic things like AirDrop, although a load of the ones I tried to use seem to be full of apps.
Where did I not say I'm live?
Use Chrome to send calls to your phone, which is probably
No,
one
I'm
of
not
the most
talking
common ways
right
to
now,
actually
but
use my iPhone
like,
to copy and paste phone
there's not
numbers
much I can
and
talk
then
about when no one's
to my
here.
iPhone. But
That's the thing, people
outside
say
of this,
talk,
there's not actually much to
But you
complain
need
about.
people to
FaceTime,
talk to. You can't just
most
talk by
recent video
yourself.
calls I've had have been over
Like
WhatsApp
people
or
bring
Facebook
up
Messenger,
ideas,
so that's
people
not an
bounce
issue
off
for me.
ideas.
iMessage,
Like
I thought
People
be another
bring a
problem
certain
for you,
vibe
but
when they're
only a
in
small
chat.
number of conversations were still using iMessage, and most of those were pretty
That's
easy
just
to move
me.
over to WhatsApp anyway. Photos changes to Google Photos,
Emma
which works
Otori.
just as well in
Emma
my
is
experience. Speaking of
meaning
which, the S23 Ultra has a feature
smile.
called Secure Folder, which, if you store any confidential or private data, can be great to use with everything stored on your device, encrypted with Samsung Knox, and needs unlocking with a separately set passcode, screen code, pin code, fingerprint thing. There's tons of options on there as well. Now that's something I haven't seen done before
Emma
on
is
the iPhone.
meaning
Now as far as the design
smile.
goes, yes, the S23 Ultra isn't that different. It's basically identical to the S22 Ultra, and it's the same argument, I guess you could say, with the iPhone. It's the same design year in, year out. The only changes I've noticed this year on the S23 Ultra are that the edges are much flatter on the sides than the S22 Ultra, which to me makes it more comfortable to hold, but that is pretty much the only difference. I also think that both this year's and last year's phones are still being handled.
Dude, this
to
place
hold
gives a
kind
ton of
on the supply chain,
Ancient
so
Spiritus.
they're having to basically work with what they've got now. But for those of us coming over from an iPhone, it is a much needed change. Like in place of Dynamic Island, we have a pinhole camera, which is way less intrusive and makes the screen look just so much nicer and bigger overall. But you do of course lose Face ID, and Samsung's Face Unlock is only a single camera, so it's not as secure as using Face ID. So I just use my fingerprint to unlock, which is actually really quick. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever, and I just love the colours, particularly this online exclusive reddy, orangey, pinky kind of colour. It really makes the phone pop. But at the same time, I have found it to be quite slippery in the hand, so I've actually ended up just slapping on a couple of cases. Saying that, adding a case then mostly hides that beautiful colour, so I'm kind of torn. What do you think? Do I go naked or protection first? The S23 Ultra also comes with the love it or hate it S Pen, which will be totally down to personal opinion as to whether you use it or whether you don't and it just stays in the phone most of the time. Now you can use it to take notes, but you can also use it to pretend you're a wizard and control your phone by swishing it around in the air to change cameras, and probably actually the most useful function I've been using it for has just been to snap photos. For me though, it has been something that stays in the phone for literally 99% of the time and won't really get used, but to others it will be hugely useful and valuable to you. The always on display works really quite well too. There's no issues with it draining the battery like on the iPhone, and whilst it doesn't give you as much information as my iPhone, you can still completely customize it and still tell what's waiting for you on the phone. But since the iPhone just drains the battery so quickly, I just end up switching it off on the iPhone anyway, which kind of defeats the purpose of one of their flagship features from the iPhone 14. And we are just coming up now to the 2-week mark of me owning this phone. Now I always give it 2 weeks to let the battery optimization stuff kind of kick in, and I have to say that the battery life on this phone has been pretty incredible. Better than the iPhone 14 Pro Max that I'm using. So I'm easily getting 4 to 5 hours plus of screen on time and like 30% battery life left. So for me, getting through from around 7 AM through to 1 AM and still having 30% battery life left, it's pretty incredible. Like, it rivals the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Maybe I should actually just do a proper battery comparison between the two. Maybe comment down below if you want to see that and I'll post it on the channel. Oh, and of course, for design as well, we have USB-C, so no more carrying around that one cable anymore, just for one device that refuses to get with the times, although they're probably going to be forced to do that this year. Now, in terms of actually switching from iPhone over to Android and the S23 Ultra, there are a few ways that you can switch. Now, you can actually transfer over most of the data from your iPhone directly to the S23 Ultra. But since most of what I did was kind of in the cloud anyway, I just always choose to start with a fresh phone. So just setting it up from scratch. I dread to think how many apps I've installed on my iPhone over the decade or whatever it is that I've owned one. So I just rather start fresh. Now, one issue you might have when moving is if you use Safari and Keychain to store all your passwords, because of course you don't have that on Android. So what I would highly recommend you do before you switch is to sign up for a proper password manager and install that on your iPhone. Because using a proper password manager, that's a mouthful to say, using a proper password manager, for me, has meant that I
Apparently
can put all
TikTok
of my,
says I'm
usernames and
too
passwords
inappropriate.
with me to any new device, whether it's Android, Windows, Mac, Linux, like anything. It doesn't matter if it's a Samsung Android or a Google Pixel Android, an iPhone, Windows or Mac, it works. And I can also bring with me bank and credit card information, personal ID, two-factor authentication codes, and just a whole ton more, way more than just a basic kind of built-in browser-based password manager can do. Now, I have used 1Password for literally years now, and they've become a long-term sponsor of this channel, so there'll be a link down below to get 25% off either a personal or a family subscription. Now let's talk about cameras now, because that's what we're all here for. And I don't mean let's snap a ton of identical looking photos and play spot the difference, because if you really want to do that, well, just pause this video and let the world know your thoughts on these shots down below in the comments. Now, we've all seen way
Right.
too many camera comparisons to know that between the S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, they are both hugely capable cameras. Like portraits, landscapes, low light, including this pretty incredible recording of when I took a photo last night in absolute pitch black darkness in my living room. Where in the hell did it pull all of that light and colour from? That is incredible. Video has also had a massive upgrade this year on the S23 Ultra, and for once, I actually think the S23 Ultra can compete with an iPhone in terms of video quality. So we do have 4 cameras on the back of this phone, but the things we're all here for are the 200 megapixel wide angle, the 10 times optical zoom, and that 100 times crazy long space zoom. Now firstly, if you want a photo of the moon for some reason, that's this phone's party trick. You can just pull out your phone and with your hands, hold it up to the moon, and it uses all of its kind of computational power and stability and things to expose and get some actual detail of the moon. But kind of like most party tricks, you only really do it to show your mates before going back to like not using that feature 99% of the time. The 10 times optical zoom though is something that is far more capable to me than an iPhone. So for anyone with a family trying to snap a photo when you're, sitting on the sidelines or watching from a distance, the 10 times zoom has come in hugely useful. And it is an easy win for anyone who goes to watch their kids play, any form of sport, or if you go to a show or a gig and want to just zoom up close to, what's on stage. The 100 times zoom is kind of cool, but honestly gets a bit too pixelated to get any form of, good photos. But it is pretty mind-blowing to be able to see things that, with the camera that your eyes literally can't see, with just a tiny camera built into a phone. And at around 20 times zoom, the phone's software kicks in to give you as much stability as possible when kind of shooting photos with that distance to obviously shaky hands and everything. That does a really, really good job. The 200 megapixels, also definitely one of those numbers that you just hear and go, wow, that's crazy. And it's nice to know that I'm capturing things in the highest detail as possible. But just be aware that the 200 megapixel mode suffers from some pretty significant shutter lag when you tap the button. Now you can kind of fix this by downloading an app from Good Luck, which then changes the camera to, I think it's performance mode instead of quality mode, which I haven't tried, but I'll link down below to some instructions on how to do that. So unless you can be sure that, whatever you're shooting is staying still, then it's probably best to use another mode or risk it, either a blurry shot or just missing the shot completely. I also like all the various modes that you have available. It just makes using the camera on the S23 Ultra just fun again. So for performance, I've seen some really stupid videos doing the rounds comparing the iPhone 14 to the S23 Ultra in like super slow motion to show the milliseconds difference between performance of opening apps on these phones. But in real world, I was very excited, honestly, this year to get my hands on the S23 Ultra.
But let's
we
go.
Finally, Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Now this won't.
Oh, what's going on? Where,
Look, it's the Dragon Warrior.
You don't belong here.
Hey! Open the door! Let me in!
You're a disgrace to Kung Fu, and if you have any respect for who we are and what we do, you will be gone by morning.
Take a look around, adventurer.
You? Him? He's a panda. You're a panda. What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?
And why didn't you quit? You knew I was trying to get rid of you, yet you stayed.
Yeah, I stayed. I stayed because
Bruh.
every time you threw a brick at my head or said I smelled, it hurt. But it could never hurt more than it did every day of my life just being me. I stayed because I thought if anyone could change me,
Anyone could change me.
not me, it was you.
So, Oogway, this was the one destined to stop me.
A big, fat panda who treats
Big fat panda.
I probably sucked more today than anyone in the history of Kung Fu, in the history of China, in the history of sucking.
Probably.
5. Man, you should have seen them. They totally hate me.
Totally.
How's Shifu ever gonna turn me into the Dragon Warrior?
I'm surprised you remember so little, but you were so little when it happened.
You think knowing will heal you? Phil. Some crater in your soul. Well, here's your answer.
Stay down.
Is this my mom?
Your parents
Meme.
love you.
Is this my
To
meme?
get to him.
Then tell me why.
He was there, okay? The peacock was there the last time I saw my parents. He knows what happened, where I came from, who I am.
Need that.
Hey, Dad.
Paul! Oh, Paul, your story may not have such a happy beginning, but look how
Story?
it turned out. You got me, you got Kung Fu, and you got noodles.
Oogway saw greatness in you, Paul. More than you can see in yourself.
Your story may not.
What does I need? A scorching sun gemstone.
But that doesn't.
Let me take a
make
picture of
you
this.
who you are. It is the rest of your story. Who you choose to be.
Maybe I should just quit and go back to making noodles.
Quit, don't quit. Noodles, don't noodles.
Noodles, don't noodles.
You are too concerned with what was and what will
What
be.
will be?
So, who are you, Panda?
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow
Tomorrow
is a
is
mystery.
a mystery.
But
Today, a gift.
that is why it is called the present.
Dude, it would be a lot easier to just.
Who?
You taught us who we were meant to be. A father.
Just head back
A
there.
friend. A family. I love you, Dad.
I love you too, son. Do you want to learn Kung Fu?
Yeah.
Then I am your master.
Okay.
Bro, what is stopping me?
Go Dragon Warrior! Defend the valley!
The universe has brought us the Dragon Warrior.
Who are you?
I've been asking the same question. Am I the son of a panda? The son of a goose? A student? A teacher? Turns out, I am Poe.
You are a Dragon Warrior.
Master.
Master.
The panda.
Rogers. I've been on my own since I was 18. I never really fit in anywhere, even in the army.
Sorry, son.
Look, just give me a chance.
You've been eligible on your asthma alone.
My faith's in people, I guess. Individuals. Is there anything you can do?
I'm doing it.
And I'm happy to say that for the most part, they haven't let me down.
saving your life.
Which is why I can't let them down either.
5 exams in 5 different cities.
That might not be the right file.
No, it's not the exams I'm interested in. It's the 5 tries. But you didn't answer the question. Do you want to kill Nazis?
No.
I don't want to kill anyone.
What is it?
I don't like bullies.
No.
I don't care where they're from.
No.
Everyone on my position.
No.
We have incoming.
No.
For as long as I can remember, I just wanted to do what was right.
No.
Guess I'm not quite sure what that is anymore. I know you're doing what you do. That's all any of us can do. That's all any of us can do. And I thought I could throw myself back in and follow orders, serve.
There's not enough time.
It's just not the same. People died.
I'm gonna go upgrade our God Air weapon. Try it out.
Job. Try to save as many people as we can. Sometimes it doesn't mean everybody.
You're my mission.
Are you ready for our dance?
You know he knew you. Your pal, your buddy, your Bucky.
Because I'm with you to the end of the line.
I'm with you to the end of the line, pal.
He remembered you.
The war's over, Steve. We can go home. Imagine it.
The world has changed. None of us can go back.
Da, da,
All
da,
we can
da,
do is
da.
our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
Mr. Secretary, the world's on fire. And you think all's forgiven?
I'm not looking for forgiveness. And I'm way past asking permission. Earth just lost her best friend. So we're here to fight. So no matter what, I promise you, if you need us.
You know it's a trap, right?
Yeah, I don't much care.
Good.
If you need me, I'll be there.
Get me out of this
5
place. I want to
years
get
ago,
back to
we
Haddle.
lost. All of us. We lost
Bro, I should
friends.
just teleport.
We lost family. We lost a part of ourselves. Today we have a chance to take it all back. You know your teams, you know your missions. Get the stones, get them back. 1 round trip each, no mistakes, no do-overs. Most of us are going somewhere we know. That doesn't mean we should know what to expect. Careful. Look out for each other.
147 bill.
This is the fight of our lives. And we're gonna win.
Bro, I might use my old horse,
Whatever it
dude. This shit's slow.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Get out of here! Go!
I knew it.
Come on, soldier.
Can I ask you a question?
Just one?
Why me?
I suppose that is the only question that matters.
I went in the ice in 45 right after I met the love of my life. I'm 70 years later. You know, I keep telling everybody they should move on and grow. You gotta move on.
Stay down. Final warning.
Some do. Gotta move on. But not us. When I came out of the ice, I thought everyone I had known was gone. When I found out she was alive, I was just lucky to have her.
If I move on, who does this?
Maybe it doesn't need to be done. Lost again.
This is gonna work, Steve.
I know it will. It's only we lost. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't.
I said we'd lose. You said
Do that together too.
Isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight? So we get to go home?
Guess what, Cap? We lost. You weren't there.
The serum amplifies everything that is inside, so good becomes great. Bad becomes worse.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
Tony, I don't know.
Why? You made it for that. I could do this all day. I could do this all day.
This is why you were chosen.
You trust me?
I do.
Because a strong man who has known power all his life may lose respect for that power. But a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion.
Don't do anything stupid till I get back.
Thanks.
How can I?
You're taking all the stupid with you.
There are men laying down their lives. I got no right to do any less than them.
Avengers!
Avengers!
Assemble.
Only thing bumming me out is the fact I have to live in a world without Captain America.
Simple life. You get that one day. I don't know. Family, stability.
Trying.
Guy who wanted all that went in the ice 75 years ago.
Well, that's right.
Sharp, hard.
I think someone else came out.
Maybe
Mass.
try some of that life Tony was.
Blackstone powder.
How'd that work out for you?
It was beautiful.
You want to tell me about her?
No. Scorching sun shard.
No. No, I don't think I will.
We're gonna do 2 attempts.
Heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion. Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Who the hell are you? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Are we done here?
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
You here with a mission, sir?
I am.
Trying to get me back in the world?
Trying to save it. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people. You think you're the only superhero in the world? See if they could become something more. See if they could work together when we needed them